So I have heard that there is a Blade Runner TV show that is in the works. I've heard that it's going to be Japanese anime and a sort of co-handled between Crunchyroll and I believe Adult Swim. And I honestly wasn't even sure what to think about that when I read that, because I feel like it's a little bit confusing, because the last thing I would have thought of was to go animated with Blade Runner. And I believe it's called Blade Runner Black Lotus. And I can't remember if it's slated for like 2021 or something like that. But I feel like it'll definitely be interesting and worth checking out for people like us who might be interested in, the deeper lore of things like that, or big Blade Runner fans. But I have to question, like, at what point do we get too far removed from the actual original vision of Blade Runner? Like, Blade Runner was originally a Philip K. Dick novel. It wasn't even called Blade Runner. Then Ridley Scott took it and made it something completely different, and that was successful. Then it sat and nothing happened to it for years, and then we got Blade Runner 2049. That was a great movie. However, it didn't do that well at all, which I think may have, I wouldn't say proved, but it didn't do that well at all. And I think what it did show was that there isn't exactly like a burning appetite for Blade Runner as a property. And I feel like doing more Blade Runner from now on, like the whole idea behind using Blade Runner as your IP is to bring in those fans, to keep that lore, to keep that world. And the further we get from the original property, I'm wondering, like, it'd be different if like Blade Runner 29 was massive and they're like, now we're making this big new franchise and we're going to build out the world and do animated shows and more movies and things like that. But it's like, I mean, I feel like that series as a whole is kind of dead in the water right now. Like,
well, I mean, it was dead in the water before 2049 came out. I mean, Blade Runner was an incredibly unsuccessful movie. The original, like, critically, it was panned. Box office wise, it lost Ridley Scott Aliens. Like, Ridley Scott did Alien, and that was so successful. That's how he got to do Blade Runner. They did Blade Runner, and it was such a bomb that they brought James Cameron in to do Aliens and didn't even ask Ridley Scott to come back. I think Ridley Scott said that movie almost destroyed his career. Because it was such a big budget movie and it was such a flop.
So it was,
and then Blade Runner 2049 comes around, and it's kind of a similar thing. It got much better critical reception on release, but it's still, I don't think that Blade Runner has the following to generate much box office.
So why are we returning to it though?
Because it also does have a huge cult following.
But I mean, is it enough to bring in the returns that these studios need?
I don't think so. I think Blade Runner is an attractive property though. Like, it's very sleek. There's a lot that you can do with it. And there are a lot of people that really like it. But I mean, it took like 15 years for Blade Runner to even develop a cult following.
Yeah.
It took until like the director's cut was released for people to even really get into it. And I don't see a Blade Runner, any sort of Blade Runner property, being hugely successful. I could see it being moderately successful.
So I guess my question isn't, like, obviously me as someone who is a big fan of Philip K. Dick, as well as Blade Runner 2049 and the original Blade Runner, like, I like Blade Runner a lot. I'm very interested in anything Blade Runner. It's not me I'm not saying like I don't want the show. I have to go, like, I have to think about these studio executives and be like, what is it that makes it an enticing property to them? Like, what makes them think like, oh, we can make money with this, when it keeps being proven that they can't.
Right. Well, Blade Runner's also been a huge influence on much of sci-fi, much of the science fiction tropes we get in movies. Mm-hmm. Now, anyway, I mean, it was a trendsetter, despite not being successful. So I think in some way there's the idea that they could capitalize on it. But I mean, if when you get somebody like Denis Villeneuve to do a movie and it's as good as 2049 was, and it's still not successful, I'm just not sure you're gonna get that. Like, I don't think anybody's like, I really want a Blade Runner anime show. I'm not sure there's going to be that appetite for it. I'm interested in it though.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see it.
I mean,
I'm gonna make a bet that it's only gonna last one season though. I kind of feel like it's gonna be a
I could see that.
one season thing.
I mean, that being said, on the flip side, looking at it from another point of view, I actually could see an animated show being a better avenue for that world. I could see almost starting from the ground up within the world and being able to build something out that would work better on the animated medium than the big screen. So
yeah, I do wonder what approach they're gonna have with it, because Blade Runner 1 and 2 basically both tackled similar questions. And even the book, it was about, what's human, and what does that mean? It makes me wonder if the anime show is gonna more capitalize on the world of Blade Runner than
I
being
think that
specifically
definitely.
true to Blade Runner.
I've heard that it's supposed to take place like 13 years before 2049.
Okay.
So I really think they're just going to try and use the world. I feel like they would do like nods to some of the story elements and characters, but I don't think that.
I don't know that it's going to be that great if they just use the world. I feel like they need to dig a little bit into Philip K. Dick's themes, because if you just take the Blade Runner world, it's a cool looking world, but it's no longer original. Like, I don't think that a Blade Runner's world is a whole lot different from most sci-fi
at this point
dystopian
in time,
worlds. Because I mean, it set the stage for so many other sci-fi things. So I think digging into that world is not as interesting as it would have been like 30 years ago.
Yeah. So. I think it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, I mean, hopefully, I think it's probably still another year or two out. So we'll see where it goes. But I'm excited because I just love, I have to say, like, I love Blade Runner as a property. So I'm excited for that.